Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought to yourself that I'm stressed because of work, I'm frustrated because of this guy, or I'm sad because this happened? Well, you see, these things are actually impossible. You see, the cause of your frustration is not in the other person, but it's in you. You see, no one can hurt you except yourself. Because all of these things are external, they're outside you. And how you feel comes from the inside. It comes from the way that you interpret events and the way you choose to respond to them. Because you see, how you feel is determined by your assumptions, by your opinions, by your thoughts, by your judgments, by the labels that you put on things, how you respond to things. And you see, all of these things are determined inside you. And all of these things are in your control. So what this means is that no one can hurt you without your consent. Meaning that you are hurt only if you interpret those events as painful, if you label it as painful, and you allow yourself to be hurt and to be frustrated. But you see, as we said, these things are in your control. Your opinions, your thoughts, your judgments, your assumptions, how you respond. All of these are in your control. So you can choose to respond in a different way. You can choose to not get frustrated in a given situation. And it's all in your control. So you see, you can't really blame someone for your frustration. Just in the same way, you can't blame them for your jealousy. Because it all depends on the inside. It's all in your control. How you feel, the way you think about things, what you think about things, your opinions, your judgments, how you interpret the events around you, and how you respond. And now let me read you a quote from Marcus Aurelius. He said that today I escaped from the crush of circumstances, or better put, I threw them out. For the crush wasn't from outside me, but in my own assumptions. So you see, you can't really blame other people for the way that you feel. So to some extent, you do have some control over your emotions. But you see, of course, you don't have total control over them. You see, sometimes you can't help but feel frustrated or anxious or sad. But you see, some of the times, these emotions are the completely natural responses to a given situation. Sometimes when you're in pain, the natural response is to cry, to be sad, is to weep, is to scream. But you see, often in our culture, in society, we look down on these reactions, to these responses. We say that, it's gay, it's sissy, it's not manly to cry, it's not manly to scream or weep. We tend to ignore or push down the way that our body suggests to us to respond to pain. And this is actually I find this very interesting. But you see, when you're in pain, you should completely face it. You shouldn't try to run away from it or ignore it or push it down, because that will often make it much more worse. Instead, you should face that pain completely and live it fully. Live it like this was the only thing that you had to do right now, is to live through this pain. Like this is the only thing that is real right now, which is kind of true. There is only this present moment. There is only this pain right now. And the only thing that you got to do is to just live this moment. You see, the interesting thing is that if you completely face your pain and you don't resist it, often it will make it much better. You see, if you're willing to be in pain, if you're willing to be anxious, often this willingness itself makes it unnecessary to do so. For example, if you're willing to be anxious, then you won't be anxious about not being anxious, and then you won't start being anxious about being anxious that you're anxious, and so on and so on. I mean, if you're interested about more of this topic, facing pain, reacting to pain, the strength that you can find in weakness, I made a whole video about it. You can check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. You see, the interesting thing is that if your friend, let's say, does something that makes you angry, you see, the quality of angriness, the fact that it's frustrating, it's not in the action itself. It's only in the way that you interpret it. Yes, it's frustrating in the mind's eye, in your mind's eye, but the action itself, it's neither frustrating or not frustrating. It's just the way that it is. And you see, it's the same with good or bad. There is no such thing as a good thing or as a bad thing. It's only good because we put those labels on them. It's only bad because we put those labels on them. There is no such thing as good, as bad. You see, you never know if what you do is good or bad, because there are just too many variables in place. You never know what the future holds. You can't tell if this, what happened to you right now, is good or bad. I mean, I also made a video about this. You can check it out if you want. I'll leave a link in the description. But now let's get back to the main idea of the video. And you see, the point of this message is not to become like a stone, like a statue, this ultimate stoic, never feeling angry or frustrated or anxious because he's so detached from his emotions. No, that's not the point. You see, the point is to realize that no matter what happens outside of you, your labels that you put on it, your opinions, your assumptions, your judgments, how you respond to it, all of these are in your control. And that there is no one else to blame for how you feel. And that no one can hurt you without your consent, without you allowing yourself to be hurt, to be frustrated. So the point is, you see, is not to become a man who's incapable of feeling his emotions, but to feel them completely. To not try to resist them, but feel your emotions completely. But have the ability to respond in a different way. Have the ability to respond the way that you want, not how you want to respond instinctively and punch that guy in the face. And ultimately, to have the ability to accept whatever is happening to you right now, to accept your situation, to accept this moment, and not fight against it, not resist it. To quote Epictetus, "For there are two rules to keep at the ready, that there is nothing good or bad outside my own reasoned choice, and that we shouldn't try to lead events, but to follow them." Then you see, this idea of accepting one's own situation and not fighting against it, not trying to resist it, but profoundly accepting one's own situation and this moment is found everywhere. It's in every culture, it's in every philosophy, almost every Eastern philosophy and religion, and almost every Western religion and philosophy. And also in stoicism, the idea of Amor, Fati, acceptance of one's fate or something like that, you see. It's everywhere. And you see, just in the same way as you can change your opinions, your thoughts about something, you can decide to accept whatever is happening to you right now and even love it and even be grateful for it. And that's in your control. You can accept it and not fight back against it and not try to resist it. Because you see, resisting and fighting back against what's happening around you and what's happened is completely useless. You see, no amount of resisting will change what's happened. No amount of resisting or, complaining will make this situation better. And you see, we only have this moment. This is the only thing that you have. There is no past. There is no future. These things are abstractions. The only thing that you have right now is the thing that you're experiencing right now. And you can't escape it. You can't escape this moment. Because it is the only thing that you have. And you see, if it's a bad one, so be it. If it's a good one, so be it. You can't have one without the other. You can't have pain without pleasure. So you see, only wishing for good moments is not only impossible, but it also neglects the idea that you cannot escape the moment that you're in. That you can't escape this moment. And you're wishing for a better moment. You're splitting yourself. But you see, there is only this moment. There is nothing else. In your thoughts, you wonder and you think of better futures. But there is only what's happening right now. Now, of course, we can decide to move to a better direction. But we've been dealt the cards that we've been dealt. We can't do anything about it. What we can do is only accept it and do what we can right now. There's nothing else to do but to accept it, because no amount of resisting it, no amount of complaining, no amount of that is completely useless. That won't do any good for you. The only thing that you can do is accept it, be grateful for it, love it even. Accept the situation that you're in. And you see, when you just totally accept this present moment and your situation, you get this very powerful sense of contentment. And you get a lot more energy, because now the energy that went to complaining and resisting all of that stuff, you now got that free energy, it's freed up. As a recap then, remember to differentiate between what's in your control and what's outside your control, focusing on what's in your control only. And also, remember that you can control how you respond to something. It's in your control. And you see, no one can hurt you without your consent. And also remember to accept whatever is happening around you. Accept of it. Remember the idea of Amor, Fati, a love of one's fate. And remember that it's completely useless to fight against it, and that to try and make the best of it. Whatever it might be, whatever life may throw at you, to make the best of it and be grateful for whatever you have and accept it. Because from out of that comes great power. So thank you for being here. If you're interested, I'm doing free one-on-one calls. You can send me an email and we'll arrange a video call, and you can ask me anything that you want. So if you're interested in that, send me an email and we'll contact each other. And if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I'm actually very interested to hear your thoughts. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your presence. All the love towards you. Have a great day and goodbye.